Hello and welcome to the Un-American Football Show's weekly, or not so weekly recently, projection episode. We've made it. It's the big one. The Super Bowl is this weekend and we're going to be making our picks. Who's going to win, who's going to be massive fantasy scorers, and what the handicap's going to be. We've got Nate with us and we've got Ross with us as well. Both, how are you doing? And secondly, how did you spend your 3 hours not watching the Pro Bowl this last Sunday?
Yeah, I'm fine. What did I do instead of the Pro Bowl? I don't know. But not watching the Pro Bowl.
I watched some of the Pro Bowl and then
Oh my god.
it really hurt my feelings, actually, to be honest. I was like, it's just not good. I ended up watching Squid Game, actually. That's how I ended up. That was my Sunday evening.
I just got no interest in seeing professionals playing tag football,
Yeah, I was watching a podcast, or listening to a podcast earlier, and someone was saying that their child was very excited about the Pro Bowl, and they was like, "Don't get excited about the Pro Bowl." And then after like 5 minutes, they just went, "You're right. I shouldn't have ever been excited about this." And that's so sad when like a child sort of having that sort of opinion of something that could be like an all-star game, and it's just absolutely dreadful and pointless.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look back at Championship weekend, which feels like a lifetime ago now. It all started off with the Bengals and the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Bengals winning 27-24 in overtime. They lost the toss, for anyone that hasn't caught up yet. The handicap line was Bengals +7. The under-over was 54.5. So it started all right. There's something for all of us, to be honest. I took the Bengals, as did Ross. Didn't need the spread. They won themselves. Ross, you took the under with Nate, and you were right to do so. Well, that was close. Only 3 points in it.
Oh, yeah. No, come on.
Sorry?
No, don't worry. I was reading it wrong. Ignore me.
And then fantasy player, Nate came out on top with Patrick Mahomes scoring just over 20. Joe Burrow was my pick, who scored just under 20. Give me 2 points. And then Jamar Chase, who also had a decent day, but just not as good as the quarterbacks, picked up a point. What were your thoughts on this game, guys? Were the Bengals the deserved winners?
Yeah, because they dominated the second half, and you have to finish games, and the Chiefs didn't finish this one. All of their kind of issues from the start of the season that made us kind of question whether they would even reach the playoffs or not kind of came to the surface. Mahomes looked, a shell of himself, especially when the Bengals started to get a little bit of pressure with just 3 men actually rushing the passer quite a lot. But yeah, he was holding the ball too long, wasn't finding his checkdowns, completely shut down in the second half, and the Bengals offense did just about enough.
The Bengals defense really stepped up in the second half. Changed things around, changed what they were trying to do, and it massively worked. It completely derailed the Chiefs. It was lovely.
It was a lovely thing. It's always nice to see an underdog come out on top, and you don't get many more underdogs than Cincinnati Bengals, starved of any playoff wins for such a long time. Like buses.
31 years, I hear, Alan.
I've heard that rumour, yeah.
You love hearing it again, so I thought I'd drop it in.
I do. Yeah, my favourite stat.
They can finally send a text about it.
Yeah. The playoffs have been great, except for that stat. Moving on, we'll talk about the 49ers going to SoFi to take on the Rams. 49ers, another team that just couldn't finish the job on that Sunday. They lose 17 points to 20. Niners were +3.5, and the under-over was 46.5. Not so hot, this one for you, Nate, I'm afraid. You picked the Rams minus the points, as did Ross. I was the only person to take the Niners, so me living and dying on the hill that is San Francisco 49ers got me a point, at least. On the under-overs, Ross and I both went for the under, which it was. It was quite a cagey affair for long stretches.
Conservative, wasn't it?
And then for fancy player, Nate, you went for Matt Stafford, who actually had more points than Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase, but he came last in our predictions for this week. I picked OBJ, picked up 2 points for me, and Ross, you went for the ever-reliable Cooper Kupp. He got you 3, scored over 30 points, over 10 receptions, two touchdowns. He's pretty good.
Yeah, anytime I have Cooper Cup eligible for selection, because I know we can't pick back-to-back winners, that's kind of who I'm taking, which kind of leaves me a little bit short-handed for the final fantasy player selection of the week. So we'll see which direction I go in for that. But yeah, very cagey game. But it was made cagey by how good the Niners defense, I think, was, in particular Nick Bosa. And then the Rams defense just completely shut the door in the fourth quarter. So it made sense. These were two really good defenses who kind of got hot in the playoffs. So Rams probably deserved it because Jimmy G just didn't play well enough, and Kyle Shanahan continues to kind of fall apart in the fourth quarter when it comes to play calling.
Yeah, we don't need to see Jimmy G in another Super Bowl, do we?
No,
one was more than enough.
Yeah,
there's a lot of great quarterbacks that don't make it.
I think,
and he didn't necessarily deserve a second chance, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think that my dislike for the 49ers comes from that Super Bowl and the really annoying loud fan who was in the pub that we were with while watching it in. Because there's not really anything, there's no real reason to dislike them because they're not really good enough often enough for it to be a problem. There's no players on their roster that I just look at them and the way they behave on the field or anything and I hate them. It's literally down to that one loudmouth shithead in the pub when we were watching it, and I was so happy when they lost, especially because they played a pretty efficient game. So yeah. So and maybe I need to rein in my hatred of the Niners, but this, to be honest, that game didn't help.
I'd even argue there's more people that you could easily root for than there are on the Rams team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are some real pieces of shit on the Rams.
But Matthew Stafford kind of makes up for it in a lot of ways because he's one of the good guys.
He helps. Yeah, I mean, the 49ers are one of the most successful franchises in the NFL. They've won 5 Super Bowls, so already I didn't necessarily like the idea of them winning a 6th. So
I don't. Yeah, but that's only because you don't want them to overtake you boys, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem with that. I'd much rather they had more than the Cowboys because I definitely hate the Cowboys more than I hate the Niners.
Well, there you go. Everyone's a winner. So that's set up for this Sunday. Obviously, we had the Pro Bowl last week, which is irrelevant to everyone's life. But this coming Sunday, it's Rams, Bengals at SoFi. They're playing at home. It's a great opportunity for them to come back from the pain of last time when they had Jared Goff. And actually, I thought they probably should have won it. So let's get to the lines. Starts off with Bengals plus 4.5. It's quite a lot of points in the Super Bowl, but it is a home game. And then an under-over of 47.5. So we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're not going to do fantasy player of the week. We're going to do Super Bowl MVP instead. That probably shortens the options a little bit. Or maybe not. Depends how courageous you're feeling. So, Nate, you're fancying the Rams minus the points. I'm fancying Cincinnati plus the points. I actually fancy the Bengals to win out, to be perfectly honest. So I'll definitely take the points here. And then, Ross, you've also taken the Bungles. You might have to drop that nickname if they win, though. That's quite sad.
I'm getting it in while we can.
Yeah, nice work. Nate and I are both taking the over. Ross probably expecting a bit more of a defensive affair, taking the under. Oh, Super Bowl MVP. Ross, you're going.
Well, let's talk about the game as a whole before we drop those.
Fine. Okay. Come on then. You think the Rams are going to win minus the points?
Yeah, I do. The Bengals are way ahead of schedule, like 2 or 3 years ahead of schedule. And I keep expecting this O-line to be the bad O-line that we said that they were at the start of the year, and we sort of slowly stopped saying that they were through the season. Burrow did get hit a lot against the Titans, and they managed to win out. But I don't think we should kid ourselves in the fact that the Titans are not as good as the Rams on either side of the ball. So or at least at peak they're not as good as the Rams on paper, at least. So I don't think we'll see Burrow hit 9 times. I hope we don't, because that would leave that if it happens again, it will be a much more one-sided game. You're not gonna see a team losing after hitting a quarterback 9+ times again. I think it's going to be a big day for Matthew Stafford. I think he's really going to go off, and I think Cooper Kupp is just going to annihilate the secondary, and they're just going to really struggle to live with him. So yeah, Rams 4.5 -4.5. I'd have probably taken the Rams a minus, maybe single-digit double score kind of areas.
Ross, your response, I guess.
There is a world where this is a complete Rams blowout win. There is definitely a world, but I think a lot of people said that as the Bengals were playing the Titans, when the Bengals were playing the Chiefs. There was definitely the consensus, the Bengals could win this game. It could come down to the final quarter or whatever. They're definitely in this game, but the likelihood of a blowout was definitely going to the team. They had the higher chance of winning the game big, and this is the case here because the Rams are more talented. Quite frankly, that's how they built their team. They went the superstar route. They kept Aaron Donald. They traded for Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford, Von Miller just this season, Odell Beckham Jr. It's quite ridiculous, actually. It is like the 2018 All-Star team or All-Pro team. But this Bengals team just have a little bit of magic about them, don't they? It's just really fun to watch each week as they just kind of scratch, claw, fight their way to stay in contention in these games, and then just about do enough. I kept pointing out their red zone deficiencies on offense. They keep getting held to field goals. There's a reason Evan McPherson's had to kick 4 field goals in each of the last 3 playoff games. They get stopped down there, but the defense just steps up, does enough, gets takeaways, which is actually one of the reasons I still have the Bengals winning this game. Is that they have been very good at takeaways, and in this postseason they have a +5 turnover differential, whereas the Rams have given the ball away 5 times this postseason in fumbles and interceptions, and they are likely to make mistakes as a unit on offense. So I just think if the Bengals can continue their kind of good fortune in generating takeaways, and the Rams continue to make some mistakes, this game will stay close, and the Bengals can close out those games because they've shown they can do it in the last 3 weeks.
How often do you see a fairy tale underdog run to a final only to lose?
Often, but this is a whole different microcosm. This is the Cincinnati Bengals. This is Joe Burrow. This is something we've not seen before. It's Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl, and all these Bengals young stars in the Super Bowl. This is a thing all in itself. This isn't any other past narrative. This is just this Cincinnati team.
Yeah, I'd probably take Cincinnati to win if the line was, 1. We would have still taken Cincinnati. There's just a lot that hasn't made sense this season, and a lot that hasn't made sense in the playoffs. And I think as great as your analysis, Ross, is, and you're completely right, I completely agree with everything that you said. I just think, when it comes down to it, I just think there's one just bit of craziness that's in there, and it makes no sense at all. The Rams have won 8 of their last 9. The only one they lost was against the 49ers, who they beat last week. Shouldn't have beaten, I don't think. Missed interception and what have you in the fourth quarter to change the game. Didn't make the play. And the Rams, there's been definitely times near the end of that season, actually throughout the regular season, where they just looked a bit ropey. They just didn't really show up. Matt Stafford went full Detroit Lions and was throwing pick sixes and just crazy throws to nobody. And we haven't seen much of that over the last 8 or 9 weeks. I just think the pressure of Super Bowl, this could be where we see some of that Detroit come back out of Matt Stafford, and that's why I think the Bengals are going to win. I think you're right. It's all going to be a Hollywood fairy tale ending in Hollywood. Perfect for me. So about the under-over, you're the only person to take the under, Ross. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know if you've taken a look at the standings at the moment, but there is definitely a case to be made that I have to kind of just flip flop whatever you pick, because I think there's only 3 points in it. Look, there is a way this is a low scoring affair. I think Super Bowls are always tight and cagey affairs I wouldn't say always, usually to start the game at the very least. The Rams, they were very slow to start against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. The Bengals were very slow to start on offense in their AFC title game. If both offenses got off to a slow start and only start to pick up in the second half, that's a lot of ground to make up in terms of getting up to 47.5 points. So I think there is a way where both defenses step up, generate lots of takeaways, get stingy, because they're good defenses. Like the Bengals showed they can make adjustments at halftime against arguably the best offense in the league, just in their last game. So both defenses can do it and can make this game cagey. So I'm not necessarily annoyed that I have to take the under here to flip flop from you, but I do think there's a way this could happen.
Just thinking about it, the thought of Aaron Donald against the Cincinnati Bengals O-line does terrify me somewhat. But Nate, we're both hoping for a big game. Is this a hope that you think it's going to be, a great game, loads of points, or is this a more educated prediction?
I think Ross is somewhat actually accurate in that we could be seeing a sort of cagey opening to proceedings. I think that there's a pretty good chance. We maybe only see 2 touchdowns and a field goal in the first half, but I think the later it gets, the more desperate the teams sort of become, and that could lead into defensive plays and turnovers and whatever happening. But I just think with the play with Stafford and Kupp and Burrow and Chase, I just think we might see it go off, and it's sort of a hope. I think it's probably only going to just squeak the over. It'll be less if it goes over. It'll be less than 5 points over.
I agree. I think it's a challenging line. Yeah. It's not something I'd bet on this weekend. But I just hope that we're going to have a great game, see plenty of points. I don't think we'll see an obscene amount of points, but I think we'll see a healthy amount. So let's talk Super Bowl MVP. Nate, you and Ross both fancy Joe Burrow, which makes sense, I guess, for Ross because he fancies the Bengals. But Nate, you don't. Why do you fancy Burrow despite going with the Rams?
I just think Burrow is. I think he's going to be up against it against this Rams defense. Like I said earlier, like he was against the Titans. So I just fancy a bit of a flip. I mean, I don't know if the NFL has ever given a losing player MVP in the Super Bowl. So I'm probably out on a massive limb here, but I don't really care. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win this. I'm 15 points back to you, Alan. I'm dead in the water, so I might as well just go and do something fucking mental. So here we go. First losing quarterback to be given MVP, probably. I just fancy it. Joe Burrow is a superstar.
Yeah.
So why not? Why the fuck not?
There has been a player on the losing team of a Super Bowl that has won. Just one, from what I can see. Cowboys linebacker Chuck Howley. I can't say I'm more that familiar with you, Chuck, I'm afraid. The 1961 Super Bowl. They lost to the Bears. He had 2 interceptions and recovered a fumble. So it can happen, I guess, for a defensive losing player as well. That's just double word score. Maybe even triple.
Not a bad day at the office, is it? 2 interceptions and a fumble.
No. He's come off the field going, well, I did my job. What the fuck were you lot doing?
Anything to add on Joey B?
Yeah, if the Bengals are going to win, it's because Joe Burrow has a really, really good day, I think it makes sense. They usually do choose the quarterback one way or the other. So, I do think there's going to be every Super Bowl. There's always, so much attention on the stars of the game, and usually someone else kind of steps up who's a bit buried on the roster. Like, the coach brings out some plays that they've not called all year because they're pulling out all the stops to try and win the Lombardi Trophy in the final game. So you could see some kind of stars and players that have been undershadowed throughout the year. Like, I don't know, Tyler Boyd maybe could have a big game for the Bengals. I think there'll be so much attention on Cooper Kupp on the Rams offense that Odell Beckham could actually have a really big game. But ultimately, you have to kind of go with the quarterback, I think, in this situation. That's the safe bet at the very least.
I agree. And my prediction of Matt Stafford is probably just covering our back, to be perfectly honest, that if the Rams win, it will be Stafford. I think there's potential that I get that first time wrong. And as you say, I've got a few point lead. It's more strategic than anything. I love Joe Barrow, to be perfectly honest. But that's an interesting point you make, Ross. Unsung superstar. Got any predictions for unsung superstar?
I've got one.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Weddle.
Okay.
I like that, actually. Eric Weddle's played really, really well since coming back.
He's been retired. Been retired 2 years. He's come back into the Rams team for the playoffs, and he's been really, really good. So if there's ever a player that should get something like that, I mean, he could genuinely, if he comes into this and balls out and is a big reason for shutting down Burrow, he genuinely should be in with a shout of being comeback player of the year, despite the fact he's only played 4 games.
I think that will be his issue because it's regular season voting, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
But I think he would be very deserving of the award. I think, and probably another year in the league after this. Probably another sweet little vet minimum deal. I don't know. I was thinking, I'm trying to stay true to the Bengals here, and their defense has to have a good day if they're going to win. Like I say, I want it to be a low-scoring affair as well. So, Trey Hendrickson gets a lot of love because, quite rightfully so, he's had 14 sacks, I think 15 sacks the last couple of years.
So he gets a lot of love. So that's opposite of unsung hero, right?
But the other defensive end, Sam Hubbard, has had 3 postseason sacks this postseason. And he made the big play at the end of the Chiefs game to kind of make them take the field goal at the end of the regular time in the fourth quarter, forcing the sack and the fumble of Patrick Mahomes. Hendrickson gets a lot of love, but Hubbard might have a big game himself on the other side.
Yeah, I like that. I'm all about the offense. So if I was going to try and be a bit more balanced, and although I fancy the Bengals and go for Rams, I just think Van Jefferson's had a really good season. Considering everyone talks about Cooper Kupp, obviously OBJ's there now, so people talk about him. He's sort of a little bit of a forgotten man. Robert Woods, when he was fit and healthy, he's essentially the 4th guy on the depth chart.
Yeah,
he could be the guy that gets an 80-yard touchdown, potentially change this game.
It really opens him up on the field, doesn't it? Having OBJ and Kupp, who are even OBJ's playing almost NY Giants OBJ in the playoffs, so it opens Van up massively. I've got another question. Super Bowl special. National Anthem, is it going under or over 98 seconds?
Oh, who's singing?
Yeah.
So it's a woman called Mickey Guyton. She's a country singer.
Cool.
All over. Country singers are always over.
I don't know, country though.
Yeah,
I expect a bit more of a diva to go over. I'm gonna go under.
Let's actually put this down. So you were saying under, Alan?
Sure.
I'm going over. Imagine if it's that loses you this, Alan.
That'd be great.
Wouldn't be the first. It wouldn't be the first time that I've lost on that.
21 weeks of predictions, I think, isn't it?
22. 23 weeks of predictions. And it's the National Anthem, but Martin minces it. Well, I mean, it's going to be a big one for you then, Alan, because every anthem has gone over 1 minute 38 seconds since 2013, and the only singer ever to go under was Kelly Clarkson in 2012. So it's a really low target. You could be right. It could go under. She could flip the script and surprise everyone. She sung the national anthem once at a game previously somewhere else, and it went over.
Okay. I'm claiming I haven't even been given the name of this unknown country singer.
Mickey Guyton.
I know you did, yeah, right, yeah, no, just that very forgettable.
Kelly Clarkson's a bit of a country gal, though, so maybe
Yeah.
if the country theme there, then maybe she'll go on there.
Yeah.
Mickey Guyton. I'm trying to find her.
National anthem under over. It's an important
Okay.
one. It's the big one for the Super Bowl. The last 2 years, it's the only bet I've put on during the actual game.
Oh no, I like first song in a halftime show.
Ooh.
And that's really hard this year because there's like 7 people doing it.
Yeah, but no, it's not that going to be, is it? Because it's going to be. I can't remember the name of the song. It's going to be Dre and Snoop.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
Yeah.
I think Eminem comes in halfway through.
Yeah.
I think that's my.
Yeah, because the opening song, the opening part of the opening song will be Dre and Snoop, but then it's going to turn into a medley, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll.
Yeah, I see Dre and Snoop starting it. I don't I can't remember the name of the song now, but the famous intro song.
I can't even think of what song you're talking about. So that says a lot about my Snoop listening.
Still Dre.
It's on the low end.
Still Dre.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Well, I'm not sure I'd go first, but I'm gonna think about it now. Oh yeah. I mean, I
don't get copyright. Turn it off. Turn off.
said
Don't
the
get
name.
copyright.
Yeah, no, it was under 10 seconds. We won't get copyrighted.
Smart.
Other one is a Gatorade colour, but it's almost always bloody orange.
Yeah, it'll be orange.
Yeah.
Boring.
And you'll get less than evens on that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. The final one of the series, final one of the season.
Well,
as we just said,
not final one of the series. We've got to sum it up afterwards.
we do, but we're not going to do it on YouTube, surely.
Well, maybe
We'll
not.
do it on our regular podcast.
All right, we'll do it on a regular podcast. I suppose it would be like 5 minutes to be like, come on, Alan won, see you later.
Yeah, Nate was unimpressed by the game. There was only 493 points scored. Triple overtime. So obviously thank you everyone for joining us throughout the course of the season, watching us make stupid picks, wild picks, bad picks. As we just mentioned, we're going to go through the debrief. We've got to debrief what happens in the Super Bowl. We're doing that on our regular podcast show. You can find that on anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, so on and so forth. If you want to come follow us a little bit more closely in what we do on a day-to-day basis, you can follow us on Twitter using @ToughShowOfficial, or you can come join us on our Discord community. It's free. We're going to be talking a lot about the Super Bowl, and as soon as the Super Bowl is finished, what every team needs, where free agents going, where Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing.
Please come along and join in us annoying Broncos fans about Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, please join.
There's already been a lot of draft chat already.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're
but there's a lot of people in our Discord that support teams that have been eliminated for a bloody long time. So they're already gagging for the next season already. So thank you for joining us today. If you like the show, give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the new season in the new year. And we'll see you over on our Discord, hopefully. Thank you, and enjoy the Super Bowl.